you going to the down BKRsport? We are back here for another one of these NRL drafts, baby. We are slapping through them now, and this is the Penrith Panthers, the team that is obviously absolutely crushing now. So you're probably going to see a lot of players from right now comparatively to the past because they're just so good at this current moment. But this team does have quite a few players across the entire length that they've been around. So I'm really excited to crack on with this one. Like I said, we'll be doing all 17 different NRL teams and also doing it with another content creator who is a supporter of said team. Because although I'm not a fan of, obviously I'm a fan of the Gold Coast Titans, right? So I don't necessarily know everything to do with every single team. So it's good to also have a content creator who supports that team, who is meant to know exactly what they're talking about. And realistically, I should actually not win. Besides the Titans, I realistically should not win any of these drafts. I realistically shouldn't, because you guys should know your team better than me. But, enough of me getting into the mind games and getting into the slander already. Let's welcome in Out RFlaxxy. How we doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? Just a bit of mind games there. You don't.
What, mate?
Getting into my head. You like it. You really do, don't you?
Well, next time at Seabus, you should come sit near me. Doesn't matter if we're up or we're down, we're losing. Doesn't matter. I win. But no, it's all good fun, man. But let everyone know kind of what you do as a content creator and also how you became a Penrith Panthers fan.
Well, I do mainly TikTok, RFlaxxy on TikTok. I started off doing content creation, just, random videos here and there, mostly gaming. Over the past year, I've started to do rugby league content. And I actually, will announce it now. I do plan to start moving to YouTube and doing a few videos, vlogs over the next season. So that's, that's me. That's my content I type of do. I just do rugby league, mostly Panthers stuff because, Panthers are just the best. Why wouldn't you go and do content for Panthers? But how I became a Panthers fan, this one's a bit interesting. Not
how you became a Parramatta fan, a Panthers fan.
I originally was a Parramatta fan. Yes. And when I was measly 7 years old, Parramatta were doing absolutely terrible in the 2009 season. At the beginning of the season, might I add, and I was sick of it. So I went to my parents. I was like, I don't like Parramatta. I don't like them. I want to change. I want to go for my mum's team, which is Penrith. I want to do that. And they said, you know what? You can do that. And, you can't change your team ever again. Yeah,
well, I agree with that. You're still young. You said 7, right? Yeah, 7 years old is still, like when I was 7, man, like this was before the Titans even existed. I had my dad who was a Manly fan. I was living in Brisbane, so the Broncos were there. And then there was also my mum who was a Sharks fan. And I was born in Cogra. I was only there for 2 weeks, to be fair. Like I was only a 2-week-old baby when mum and dad moved up to Brisbane. But at that time, you're kind of still trying to figure out exactly what you want to do. And yeah, look, I think it's fine. I think it is fine. And especially, and the thing with me is that if you've kind of stuck through the tough times, the Panthers have had some relatively tough times in the last 59 years, and now they're reaping the rewards of it. So, yeah, I think it's all right.
Well, yeah, it was 2009, we were doing well. We were in the top 8. Obviously, as history shows, Parramatta made the grand final. My choice that year was horrific, and I did get given shit for it. Sorry with that, but I did get given crap for it. And 10 years from 2009 till 2019, we did not do well. 10 years of horror, pretty much. And now, as you said, we're
10 years of horror, he says to the Titans fan. 10 years of horror, he reckons. Like, I still think you made the 8 a couple of times, but I don't know if saying Panthers had a 10-year horror spree, like Titans or Parramatta or who's another one? Tigers is another one. Knights. Jeez, they are the worst team in history in 2010.
Dragons are going through it right now.
Dragons going through it right now. But there you go. Obviously, yeah, Panthers fan, you've been bloody crushing it the last couple of years, and I'm looking forward to getting this draft. So I think it is time we obviously start getting into it. So let's get into the rules. Also, the description will be where his links are for his socials. Now, the rules of this game, obviously 1 through 17 plus coach. Whoever goes first will go fourth, and obviously the person who goes second will go third. And it's a snake draft back and forth. It is based upon, the form of the players at the club. You're trying to put together the best 17 that you possibly can, that you think would obviously be able to beat the other persons. Now, we obviously did do a wheel decider just before this, and just throwing it out there, is RFlaxxy getting the first pick there. So can you confirm that it was all done legally?
It was done legitimately. The papers were signed, contracts were there.
Contracts definitely were there, son. They were there. So, yes, he'll be going first. That means I go second and third. Once a player gets selected, the other person obviously can't take them. And, all right, mind games. They begin, son. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's see if RFlaxxy knows what he's got himself into, because it gets difficult from here on out. All right, you're up here for the first pick.
All right, so for me, my first round pick, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. He is going to be an immortal. He is a legend. His name is Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, no, I was trying to have a bit of mind games before it all started and saying that he probably wasn't, there was other guys, but Nathan Cleary for me would have been my first selection as well. I've been saying it for years, and I actually copped a little bit of slack for it originally, but I said that he is on trajectory to be the greatest player of all time. I currently have Cameron Smith as that guy, but for me, Nathan Cleary is an incredible player, and you saw that in the 2023 Grand Final. He just knows how to turn a game just like that. All right, now I got two damn well picks here, and I think there is a lot of depth in a few of these areas. So I am going to go and... Oh, where am I going to go here first? There is so many options. You know what? Into the front row, I'm going to take Tim Sheens. I think that needs to be done straight away. Tim Sheens into the front row. I want to bolster my forward pack here early, especially with the fact that you're not even going to have to really think about your 7 right now. You're not even going to really have to think about that for the time being. And then I'm going to go into... Actually, you know what? I'm going to make sure you don't take him as your 6 or as your 14. I'm going to take Greg Alexander. I'm going to put him into my 7.
In your 7?
Into my 7, absolutely. I've got other plans for my 5'8", son. Other plans. All right, you're up for 2.
Oh, that's that. All right. I didn't expect the forward pack to go as early as it did, but interesting stuff. For me, I might follow the same route now. You've really screwed me on the going first here. I'm going to go with my second round pick. Ooh, there's so many.
Tyrone Peachey.
Now I might go Tony Pulatella as my second rower.
Tony Pulatella into the back row. I think he's there as well. I had him in both front row and second row. I think that's a good selection.
Yeah, no, Penrith Junior, part of the 2003 squad. He was a big leader, big role for our team in 2003 against the Roosters. So, put him there on my list.
100%.
Oh, and I got another pick after that too, don't I?
You do.
Interesting. So I'm just gonna.
But if you'd like me to go now, I'll do it for you. I'll take one for the team.
You would, and you know what? I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna take a 5'8". And I don't think it's going to be one that you thought I would take, but I'm going to be going with Steve Carter.
Oh, you're going to go Steve Carter there. All right. Well, there you go. I was expecting you to go Jerome. I'm not going to lie to you. I actually expected you to go Jerome. I had Steve Carter in as my second 5'8", so I'm actually kind of happy that you've taken him there. There's actually quite a few 5'8". I shouldn't actually even think about that for the time being. But, Steve Carter was a great selection there. And for everyone at home, obviously, you can see on the screen, there are stats that come up of the player, a little blurb of the player if you don't know who they are. Because, again, I want to also put this out there. I forgot to say this at the beginning. The older generation will prefer the older generation, and the younger generation won't know who those guys are and will prefer the younger generation, like the guys now. So also, guys, just taking this perspective, we have different perspectives, and also overall, it's just a bit of fun. So comment below your thoughts of the teams and who you would have gone otherwise. But all right, I got 2 picks here, and I'm going to go into my sentence and take Ryan Girdler. There's no way he's getting out of here. There's no way Ryan Girdler is getting out of here without being selected. So I'll slap him up there into that number 3 spot. And then in the lock, I'm going to take Scotty Sattler. I'm going to take Scotty Sattler and chuck him into my 13. Bang, bang. You're up for 2.
That is a good pick, Sattler. He was on my list. He was actually... he's my number 2 on my list.
I know who your number 1 is.
Yeah, I think anyone that watches the rugby league would probably know who the second one is. That's an interesting one. And then who'd you go? You go Girdler, which was actually number 1 on my list.
Yeah, I've got him as my best centre.
Yeah, so you've taken him away from me there. So
don't even look at him.
Can't look at him anymore. I'm gonna move on and go with my 2 picks. I'm actually gonna go with my props. I'm going to select Fisher Harris.
Ooh, James Fisher Harris. Gee whiz, I like it. Yeah, James Fisher Harris goes with that number 8.
You know, like weapon for us in the past 3 years. You know,
and international.
International as well for New Zealand, yes. He's just been so good, and I think he's not at his peak yet. You know, I think he can still perform. And
he's just come off the back of 3 premierships in a row and a 4th grand final in a row, and he's not at his peak yet. And he's played international. Gee whiz, I'm scared. He's no Tino though.
Oh. Yeah, he doesn't get those 10-year contracts. I'll just say that.
Exactly right.
He doesn't get. So with this one was a tough one for me. This one was a tough one. This one's my fullback. I'm going.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, it was between 2 players. You know, none of them being a Titans player.
Oh, wow, that's just disrespectful.
You know, but I have to go with the one that is my personal favorite player. I'm going Dylan Edwards at my fullback.
Yep, I was actually going to select him as first. I agree. I actually would have selected Dylan Edwards there as my one. So I think that's a good selection. I know that there is a lot of other, you know, the older generation will say, oh, there was these guys, and there is a couple of guys there that we'll mention afterwards. But Dylan Edwards is an unbelievably solid player. And I remember I had to do some fighting for him on my live streams. People were like, oh, he's not that good, all this sort of stuff. And I said, he's just so underrated, man. He gets it done, and now he gets it done plus more. So, no, I think that's a great selection. But I do think that you missed out on a player here that really should have been selected for mine. And it's Petro Civoniceva, big 70 cents a litre there. So I've got my front row of Tim Sheens and Petro Civoniceva. I love it. I absolutely love that there. That's 2 massive boppers. And they were the 2 guys that I had right at the top. And then I had Potatua and then Fisher Harris just for that. But all right. I'm going to go to I'm going to make a power play here. To my number 15, I'm going to the bench. I'm taking Isaiah Yeo. I'm putting him into my 15. You shouldn't have told me before, man. Isaiah Yeo goes to my number 15. Thanks for coming, baby. You're up for 2 picks. What are your thoughts of that one, man?
I think you can tell what my thoughts on that one was. That one hurts. Oh, wow. Ouch. Oh my. That's dangerous for me. All right. Let's move on because that one's upset me a little bit.
Good.
We're going to go which I'm surprised hasn't, you know, been a pick yet. And I'm going to look towards my hookers. And I'm going to go Royce Simmons as my number 9.
Yeah, he was my top pick there for the hooker. I think it's another really quality selection there, but Royce Simmons was at the top and pretty clearly for mine. And then there's a clear second for mine, and then the 3 and 4 was similar.
Yeah, I have a top 2. I only had 3 in mind for that, but yeah, the top 2 are just miles ahead of the rest. And yeah, I agree with you. And then you've gotten into my head here now with that pick. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go towards second rowers now, and I'm actually going to go Liam Martin.
Oh wow, Liam Martin! Gee whiz! That for me, I feel like that's a bit early, but I also like him as a player. Like I think that's a good selection overall. But I also think that you've missed out on a pretty big back row there. I think you missed out on a couple, to be fair. But Liam Martin is a very solid player, man. He is a very, very solid player. Oh, that's right. So I had him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had him 6. So I would have considered him for my bench there. But with that being said, he's a good selection, son. Don't let me insult your team too much. All right, so I am going to make sure that I get for mine the best winger that has played for the Penrith Panthers, and that's Brian To'o. I will put him alongside Ryan Girdler there. I love what Brian To'o does. Not only is he a vibes man, but he's also just so quality. He's just so quality in the way he runs the ball out the back, and he revolutionized the game of wingers for now generation, in my personal opinion, the way he just plays and just the strength that he has. So I'll put Brian To'o onto my wing. And this is I have structured my draft very differently here. It's very different to what I would usually go with. Very, very different. But I think I want someone here. I think I want someone who might go onto my bench again, who I can get better. No, this is a tough one. I think, no, you know what? I'm going to go to the back row and I'm going to take Johnny Cartwright. I'm going to take Big John Cartwright there. He was my number one selection there on the back row, in my personal opinion. I'll chuck him into the number 11.
John Cartwright, he was on my list.
Played a lot of games for you guys.
Oh, and I've just...
You there?
I've just lost... Yep, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Don't you worry. He's just fretting, guys. He's just fretting. I've gone and just got such a good team right now, but you've got 2 picks.
Yeah. You've shaken me up here, but I think I'm gonna get myself back on track. I'm going to go a winger, and he's a bit old school. I'm going to go Luke Lewis.
That's you know what? Yeah, I'll tell you something. So when I was just talking about how I can get better in certain positions, I was thinking to put Luke Lewis as my 14. And then because he obviously played everywhere, like he played back row, buddy lock, he could play in the halves, wing, everywhere, man. So that's a good selection.
Yeah, no, you've already. I've had to change up my tactics because you've already, you've done me dirty with the Isaiah Yeo pick. I'm filthy about that. I am genuinely filthy about that pick. And we're going to move on. I might actually go to my bench. And look, this is going to be a very, very controversial pick here. But I'm going to go, my number 14, I'm going to go Api Coruscant.
I know what you've tried to do there. I know exactly what you've tried to do there. He's tried to do what I did with him with Isaiah Yeo and Scotty Sattler and take out that hooker. I think it's a very smart play. I think it is a very smart play because Api Coruscant was one of those top 2 that I was talking about there. And then the next, down. I still think there is 3 there. I still think there is another one down, and then it kind of drops off from the 3rd. So I think that's a really smart decision, though, because Coruscant is one of the smartest players that I've actually seen in rugby league. So I like that. I like that selection. But I think you're going to kick yourself when you realise now that I've got a guy here that I can chuck into my 5'8". He played a lot of games for you. And I don't want you to take him in centre. And because you've taken, I could have taken Jerome Luai, right? And I'm going to say this because obviously you don't have a 14 spot or a 6 or 7 available. So you're not going to take Jerome. But I actually would have thought about taking him. But I'm going to put Brad Fittler into my 5'8". I'm going to put Brad Fittler.
He was on my list for centres.
Yeah, he was in the centres.
But that's a good pick. Obviously known at the Roosters a lot more, but he was still an incredible player.
Well, he was known at the Roosters for being the 5'8", but he was known at the Panthers for being centre. However, he was quality at the Panthers and did play games in the 5'8" in the Panthers. And because we also know that he is a good 5'8" and he was quality at Panthers, I'm happy to take him there as my 5'8". Even though there is Luai, there is obviously Presto. James Maloney's another one. But I'm pretty happy with Brad Fittler there as my 5'8". Because that's what the Guru did. The Guru, when we had a draft with myself, Rando, Clarkie, and Guru, he just crushed us with the mixing players around and putting him in different positions, and he really screwed us. So I learned from him. I learned from the best. But all right. So I'm actually going to go and take another centre here who was my second best centre, and it's going to be Stephen Crichton. I'm going to take Stephen Crichton. I think he's one of the most clutch players of all time. Samoa international as well. And for me, has just been one of the best players as a part of this little dynasty that the Panthers have got going on right now.
Yeah, you literally took my next pick. You genuinely just took my next pick. So that Yeah, no, great player. Obviously, big for us against the Souths in the grand final. Big for us in just general, with the intercept passes. He can catch and just run up the field, fast. He's tall, for a center, so yeah, just he's one of our top players. I think he will be remembered as one of our better players in this era.
Yep, 100%. All right, well, you're up for 2 picks.
I sure am. So I'm gonna take my directions back to I'm actually, because I've got my I need another prop. I'm going to who should I go here? You know what? I'm going to go to my bench, and I'm gonna, at my number 15, I'm gonna put Mark Geyer down.
Mark Geyer, yeah, that's a good selection. Yeah, Mark. Well, I was expecting him to. I was expecting you to put him into the back row over, because I had Mark Geyer above Liam Martin. So I'm surprised that you've taken Mark Geyer after Liam Martin.
Yeah, Liam Martin also is one of my favorite players. So
I'm not knocking it too much. I'm not knocking it too much at all.
So I obviously have a bit of bias when it comes to favoritism, and obviously, as you said, the newer generation, I do like my newer guys more. So, and with my my next pick, I'm going to actually move back down to the backs, and because I already got 6 and 7, I'm going to go a winger, and I'm going to go Luke Rooney.
Yeah, Luke Rooney's on my board as well. Really solid winger back in the day. He's gone with he's gone with a bit of the older generation there on the wings. Yeah. I just wrote Luke Lewis down twice. I'm a Muppet. I am a Muppet. All right, Luke, because it's Luke, so I just kind of kept going. Luke Rooney there on the wing. Now that is a good selection there in Luke Rooney. Not who I would have gone though. No, I've got another guy there. No, I've got another guy who's just above him in my personal opinion, but his form kind of petered out towards the back end, and I can tell you that because you don't need a winger anymore. All right, so I'm going to go into my back row because I don't want you to take him and put him onto your bench. William Mikikau. Bit of William Mikikau, man. That guy is just such a dangerous attacker, and although he's been injured for the majority of his time at the Doggies, like at the Panthers, man, William Mikikau was back row of the year, alongside David Fifita and stuff like that, and Willie was just such a dominant back row, man. So I'm happy to put him into my back row. Now, you've got your 14 and your fullback sorted, so I don't have to think about fullback yet, and your 2 centres. You're not going to... Yeah, I've already got my centres and whatnot, so I'm going to make sure that I keep going to the bench here. And let's get rid of that one there. I am going to take someone off my bench that I love what he does for the Panthers, and I'm taking Moses Leota. I'm going to take big Moses Leota here, especially considering you got a front row there. I wouldn't be surprised if you took him.
Yeah, he was on my radar. I feel like you've had a lot of steals in this draft compared to me.
He's got the experience. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two.
That is true. That is true. So that was your 2 picks. You went
Moses Leota and William Mikikau. Yeah.
Yeah, so what am I looking at right now? I'm looking at centers at the moment because I've picked nada. So I might move forward over there, and you've taken a few there. I'm gonna go Brad Izzard.
Yeah, Brad Izzard definitely is on my list there. I do have another person above him, but Brad Izzard is definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Fun fact for you. I actually, on my list that I put together, I've got all 3 of them, but they're just not all in centres. I had Girdler, Crichton, and then Brad Fittler, but obviously I put Fittler into the 5-8.
No, that's fair enough. I sort of went, I shouldn't have. I sort of went more positional wise than multi-positional, and I feel like that has come to bite me in the ass.
Well, that's what I found out when I went up against the bloody damn well guru, son. When you go up against the guru, that guy could be anything.
Yes, that is very true. So you've taken a few of the players that are on my list. Now, I'm going to... what am I looking for? I got a prop. I don't need to worry about that. I'm actually going to go something. I don't know if it'll bite me in the ass, but I don't care. I'm going to go Ivan Cleary as my coach.
Whoa, yeah, I like that. That is, you know what? I wasn't expecting you to do that because most people don't think about the coach until super late. And Ivan Cleary for me was my number one coach. I think that's a good shock pick there from you. That's a real solid pick because usually people don't think about it. They're too busy thinking about the 1 through 17 and then miss out on the best coach there. Like when I do the Broncos draft, I'm going to be taking Wayne Bennett early. I can tell you that right now because there's not many others there. You probably got Kelly Wells, to be fair. All right, so I'm going to get my 17. I definitely have to think my coach till last now. I'm going to go into my number 17. I've got a Isaiah Yeo. I've got Moses Leota. And, he was no more for his doggies days, to be fair. No, I'm going to give myself time to think about that one. So I'm going to go to my other winger here, and I'm going to go Josh Mansour. Josh Mansour, before he kind of went downwards on the age trajectory with the back end of his career, I thought Josh Mansour was at his best and quality when he was at the Panthers during the mid-2010s. Like, he was a really solid winger, man, and I think that he got you through some pretty tough times.
He did, and then obviously, his last season with us nearly paid off with the grand final against Melbourne Storm. Obviously, we don't. That grand final never actually happened, but so
I think I watched this final. I think I see it. Yes, I think I see it.
But yeah, he was a solid pick. He actually wasn't on my list at all.
You are disgraceful. I had him as number 2 on my list.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2. Wow.
I had him as number 2, which is probably going to get me. I'm not a Panthers fan. Don't slap me, man. Just what I see. Don't just slap. He's hurting my feelings, folks. Well, don't vote his team because of it.
Now that our wingers are actually done, my top 2 were Brian To'o and Luke Lewis. So,
I had. We'll talk about the players that we missed after we finish. But yeah, I like it.
Towards my bench, because we're getting into the tail end right now. Mm-hmm. Another bit of a pick. I'm actually going to go James Tarmo.
Yeah, I was considering him. I was definitely considering him there. I had him on my list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Tarmo.
Yeah, obviously he's known more for what he's done at other clubs, at
the Cowboys.
Queensland. Yeah, and that. But I still think while he was at Penrith, he was, he was still a really good player, a leader. So yeah, he's there. I just need to write that down. And for my, I'm going to take my other center here.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's a really old one. This one is a player that I don't even know if you would have him on your list, but he is one of the first Penrith players. His name's Graham Moran.
Yep, I've got him on my list. Don't you worry, son. I do my research. Son.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You've made me go really old here. Old school. I was not expecting to go this old school. In my draft.
Like I was, so we had a bit of a cut out there. Like I was saying I tell everyone really, it's very easy when you're watching videos and you're watching it, you're seeing it, you're like, oh no, I would have done this, I would have done that. When you're in the moment, it's tough. Like it is tough because you're getting picks taken off you that you had your brain set on, and yeah, it's good fun, but it does get pretty difficult there. So we'll go through those teams in a sec. Where will I go? So I might go into my. I didn't even think about who I should do into my 17 while I was waiting, which I should have done. I really should have done. Man, I would have loved to have put Luke Lewis as my 14, though. That would have been so good, to be fair. Actually, you know who I'm going to put into my 14? I could put him to the fullback. I'm going to take Preston Campbell. I'm going to take him in my 14.
Titans legend.
Mate, Preston Campbell. Oh, my God. Presto magic, mate. I know him well. I've seen him at most games, actually. And we have a good chat about things. And, I can't not take the big Presto magic into my team. Even though I was at the Panthers, I've got to take him in my team.
That's fair enough.
And Is that my two picks?
I think you got one more.
I know I've got one more. Yeah, don't you try and snake
I
my
mean,
pick.
as you said before, I can take your pick if you want.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. You're not taking nothing of a pick there. No way. All right. I'm going to. So I've got two big guys. Isaiah is a really big selection there at 15, and Moses Leota's another one. I really should look at a back rower here. I should look at a back rower, and I'm going to go and have a look at a bit of Trent Waterhouse action. I'm going to go big Trent Waterhouse.
Trent Waterhouse.
Yeah, I'm going to put him into my 17 there. I wasn't originally going to go with him, but I think that he would work really well with this team, and I'm going to go Trent Waterhouse. I did actually have a couple of players around him as well.
That's fair enough. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at a 17 for myself as well. But I'm gonna. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go my number 13. I'm finally going to pick my lock. I'm going to go Colin Vandervoort.
Yep, I did have Colin Vandervoort on my list, obviously below Isaiah and Scotty Sattler. But he was a good selection there. He was the next one down.
Yeah. Well, I was a bit. I knew you probably wouldn't do it, but I was a bit worried you were going to just chuck him in your in your bench, and you scared me because you took my top two, and he wasn't really a thought for me. So I just lose Isaiah Yeo once you took Scotty Sattler was.
Fun fact for you, the 5 locks that I had here, just like I had plenty of depth and whatnot, of the 5 locks that I had Isaiah Yeo, Scott Sattler, Colin Vandervoort, Trent Waterhouse, and then Luke Lewis, and all 5 of them are off the board. Whether they're in that position or not, they're all off the board. So we've got some pretty good locks that have been throughout the system.
Penrith, we've had some really good players, but when it came to chemistry, we just couldn't get it together. Whether it was lack of the coaching, coaching, or just team chemistry in general, we just couldn't get our players together until obviously in the recent history.
100%. All right, you got one more pick.
I got one more pick, and now I need to pull up my list because it came off. Who do I go? I'm going to then now take my 17, and another controversial pick. I'm going to actually go Scott Sorensen.
Scotty Sorensen. Yeah, he wants to get a part of that new team action, eh? He's seen that I've gotten a lot of those new guys, so he's tried to get one of the new boys. Isn't that right?
You're not wrong. But to be fair, Scott Sorensen has been a weapon for Penrith in the recent history. So
yeah, no, I agree.
Part of our grand final streaks, and I think he actually deserves it, and I think he's underrated as a player, to be honest. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. Now I got 3 picks. Got my fullback, my 9, and my coach. Now I'm going to leave my fullback to last, just because I know he's such a good player and I want to end off with him. I'm actually going to go to my coach here. I'll take Phil Gould. I'll take the big old Gussie boy, Phil Gould, into that coaching role there. I think that's I do have Ivan Cleary above him, though, to be fair. But Phil Gould, gee whiz, he was also really, really good coach here for the Panthers. And then my number 9, I'm going to have to do it, Luke Priddis. Luke Priddis will go off into my number 9.
You have a solid ending, because I know who your one's going to be. You have a solid ending there. Not going to lie, when you took Tim Sheens off the board, I was like, well, there goes a coach. It wasn't going to obviously be the first coach I picked anyway. But, Tim Sheens was part of our first finals in our history. So, when you took him as a player, that
was Phil Gould not the coach of the 2003 Panthers team, though?
I think he was. Phil Gould was more, I think, better. Well, I don't want to say better, but, he was more seen for behind the scenes if you look at Phil Gould now, he was more seen as the behind the scenes for Penrith than a coach. For the stuff he did, the 5-year plan that took 10 years. But he's still a really, really good pick, Phil Gould. So
it was Johnny Lang. It was Johnny Lang. Anyway, Phil Gould was still a great coach for the Panthers. Just take it that way, all right?
Yeah.
It was Johnny Lang who was the coach of the 2003 team. Anyway, you've got your last pick, which is your front row. You haven't selected your starting front row throughout this entire time. That's insane.
Well, you took him. That's the
Yeah,
best
I did
way.
take Petro and Timmy Sheens. Yeah.
Yeah. So my final pick for the draft is going to be Terry Geary.
Terry Gira. Yep, I do have him on my list down there. Yep, Terry
And
Gira.
that is how I'm going to end off this draft.
That is how you're going to end off this draft. Well, you've ended off on Terry Geary, and I'm going to end off on Reese Wesser, baby. Reese Wesser, what a player back in the day. Also did some good work for the Rabbitohs as well. But yeah, Reese Wesser was he was a flyer, man. He was an absolute flyer. And I could have put Presto into that number one role, but I just think the Presto, obviously, he can play a bit of 5'8" as well. He can play in multiple different positions. And I think that utilizing him in the utility role is the way to go there. And, Reese Wesser, he was a part of that 2003 Panthers team, actually, when they won the premiership there. But all right, we are done and dusted here, son. We've gone through our 1 through 17 and coaches. Let everyone know, go through your 1 through 17 plus coach and let us know your thoughts.
So my 1 through 17, this is how I have on my list. I have Dylan Edwards as my fullback, Luke Lewis and Luke Rooney as my wingers, and my centers are Brad Izzard and Graham Moran. My 5'8" is Steve Carter, 7, Nathan Cleary, 8, Terry Geary, 9, Royce Simmons. My 10 is Fisher Harris. My second rowers, I have Tony Kuletewa and Liam Martin. My, pardon me, sorry about that. My lock is Colin Van der Vert.
Yeah.
Can't say his
name. Are you good? Is he drunk?
I'm a bit stressed reading this team. I'm like, oh my, have I done well? My utility would be Api Coruscant, 15, Mark Geyer, James Tamo in the 16, and Scotty Sorensen in the 17, with my coach being Ivan Cleary.
No, it's a good team. It's an older team. It's a good team, though. Now, let's get into my 1 through 17. I got the fast flyer, Reese Wesser, son. And on the wings, I've got Brian To'o and Josh Mansour. The centers of Ryan Girdler and the clutch man, Stephen Crichton. With the 5'8", I put Brad Fittler in there alongside Greg Alexander in the halfback. You go on the front row, Timmy Sheens and Pedro 7 receiver, 70 cents a leader. That guy, Bopper, he'll be on the Broncos draft as well, I can guarantee you. Into the number 9, Luke Prittis with John Cartwright and Viliami Kikau as the back rowers, and then Scotty Sattler as the 13. Now, if you thought that Scotty Sattler should have been below Isaiah Yeo, doesn't matter, because Isaiah Yeo is also on my bench alongside Moses Leota and Trent Waterhouse, with the utility being Preston Campbell, my main man. And then obviously Phil Gould is the coach. And I think, look, he's going to do a job. Phil Gould going to do a damn well job there for the Panthers. And I'm pretty happy with my team. What are your thoughts on the two teams on first glance as the Panthers fan?
I see that there is no Jerome Luai.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah.
You know, that's the first thing that like really shocks out for me. Like, obviously Brad Fittler deserves to be there. But you took Brad Fittler before I could take him as a center. So there was a lot of steals in that draft for me. I was looking to go younger, like Stephen Crichton was a steal that I was pretty much ready to pick on the next go. Isaiah Yeo, still filthy about that pick. And Kikau was my other player on your team that I was really eyeing out. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team. Yes, it is old, but these players are in the Panthers legends, Hall of Fame. You have players like Steve Carter, who has the most games for Penrith ever, I believe.
Yeah.
And you have Roy Simmons, names in the stands. He's a Hall of Fame for Penrith. Yes, I did take Scott Sorensen, but I think underrated players as well. You said that the number 9, you weren't expecting me to take Apisai Coruscant. You said there was another player.
No, I was expecting you to take Appy. I thought it was Roy Simmons, then Appy Psychotowisau, and then Luke Prittis.
Fair.
So I'll go through a couple of players that have missed out here. And to stay on the hooker section, I actually thought James Seguiaro was a shout as well. I had him as 4th. I did think that Seguiaro did pretty well there for the Panthers, albeit limited. He was still fun to watch. In the front row, there was Sam McKendry, Carl McNamara, and Joel Clinton that were also there. A couple of shouts here for the back row. Frankie Pritchard, that's who I was talking about, where he's mainly known for his doggies days, but Frankie Pritchard was on the list there for me, and Bill Ashhurst and Joe Gallival. You go into the halfback. This is a big one. Craig Gower. He was a really quality player for the Panthers, Craig Gower. But with that being said, Greg Alexander and Nathan Cleary were always going to be the two selected there as the sevens, in my personal opinion. I actually did have Jerome Luai first when I originally was going to plan out my course of attack in regards to the 5'8s. But I just saw Brad Fittler there. I thought I already got Ryan Girdler. I could chuck Stephen Crichton in, and I felt that was a good mix up there to put in the 5'8. But also another one that missed out, James Maloney. He was also on my list. I did have him there. He was quality there for the Panthers. Michael Jennings. I'm actually surprised he didn't take him because I had Michael Jennings above both Izzard and Graham Moran. I loved what Michael Jennings did there for the Panthers. And another one. Can you guess another player that I had on my list that missed out in the centres?
Centers. I'm trying to think. I'm surprised that you didn't actually mention Jamie Soward.
That's another one.
In that list. But no, I'm trying to think.
I put down Isaac Tungo. I did. I put Isaac Tungo. Yeah, I did. I put him there. Yeah. I put him there. I was really devout on getting Luke Lewis as my 14, and I had Luke Lewis in the centres below. Like, I know you could win the wing, but I had Luke Lewis everywhere, man. That's why I was going to go for my utility. But yeah, Isaac Tungo was part of it. On the wings, I did have Swinga Turova. There was a chance there for Turova. Alan McIndoe, Bob Landers, and Graham Mackay. And then the fullbacks, Kevin Dan, Matty Moylan is another one that was really good at the Panthers before he went to the Sharkies, and Lachlan Coote, who was more known for his, I'd probably say, Cowboys days. But I tell you what, at the Panthers, he was a quality player, man. So look, I think that we did a pretty good damn well job. I think we did a pretty good damn well job here, man. And I don't think that there's a bad team here for sure. So I think everyone, obviously, let us know in the comment section what your thoughts are. And also on Instagram, there's going to be a post where you guys can go and vote and whatnot. At the end of the day, do recognize and realize that it is a bit of fun. And this is just some good content in the off season. I hope you did enjoy Sir Ryan. What were you, appreciate you for coming on, and let everyone know where they can find you.
Appreciate it, man. It's honestly fun. I never expected it to be as exhilarating and stressful as it was, but I expected, it'll be an easy breeze through, but it was fun. I loved it, and thank you for having me on. You can find me, as I said earlier, on TikTok. YouTube will be soon, but mainly on TikTok. I also do have an Instagram, RFlaxxy. I post on there sometimes, so I need to get better at
the great advertisement, man. You're a real good promoter. I post on there sometimes. You can follow me occasionally, But yeah, all these links will be in the description below anyway, so you can go and click on that. But now we appreciate you for coming on. Obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And before we get going, Titans to beat the Panthers in the grand final 2024. I think it's guaranteed. Am I right?
Look. I'll put you in the finals, but come on, man. 4-peat's going to be happening.
You're going to be putting us in the grand final, and then we're going to be slapping it up. We're going to be going Chi-Hu from the sideline. Dave Fafita winning try scorer. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See you.